Hello, everybody, and welcome to Navigating the Future of Trucking and Transportation with me, your host, Jerri Banks. Hey, look, we have an action packed show today. And on this show, if you're new here, go ahead and do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you are following me across all of my platforms. I also want to say hello to everybody on TikTok. Good morning, DB Trucker from VA. Look, I get on there a little bit early so they get to see the behind the scenes. But look, they are there every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Those are the days that I go live. On this show, I talk about automation and autonomy and new technology entering into the trucking industry. I also talk about traditional truck driving jobs because you're going to hear me say traditional truck driving jobs, and you're going to hear me talk about the jobs of the future in the trucking industry. And these are jobs in the autonomous sector where you can learn new skills and combine them with your current skills and become a game changer for somebody's company. And then lastly, on the learning lane. In the learning lane, y'all, I share some actionable tips and tools that I want you to take and put in your toolbox that you can use right now to start upskilling and reskilling for the new future that our industry is moving into. Now, after we come back, I'm going to talk about a few things that are brand new that I want to share, particularly in Houston. Most of you guys know that I am in Houston, and I was visiting a Chick-fil-A a couple of weeks ago, and I saw this, and I thought it was really interesting. So I'm going to share that with you. So I want you to stick around. I'm also going to share a video from Aurora. Aurora Innovation is a self-driving trucking company or self-driving software developer, and they input their software into trucks, into semi trucks, and also passenger cars. But I'm going to share a video with them, and it talks about how the Aurora driver sees the road in the future. Because a lot of us think that Tesla is the only company out here making self-driving semi trucks, when in fact there are countless companies out here making self-driving software that goes into semi trucks. And so I talk about 5 of them on this show. Today, I'm going to highlight Aurora and their video that they recently released. And I want you to stick around because tomorrow's show, I'm going to talk about a self-driving truck that is going to the oil field. Okay, so if you're an oil field worker, look, you need to know self-driving trucks are going to be going into the oil field hauling sand. So I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow. Make sure you go ahead and turn on notification because this is where you get your information about anything, the future of trucking and transportation, anything self-driving. This is where you're going to get it first. I'm going to share a traditional truck driving job. It's a tanker run that I've got open in the Northeast. I'll share all the details on that. And in the learning lane, I have a book that I have been using that has really helped me. And I want to share it with you guys because I believe that it will help you as well. So when we come back, we'll go ahead and get this show on the road. Thank y'all for being here.
I'm Jerri Banks. Our agency focuses on driver recruitment and driver education. We focus on helping drivers and preparing them for the future of trucking and transportation as autonomous vehicles and automation enters the industry. Our goal is to ensure that you are equipped with the skills that you need to be successful in this new way of life. So make sure you connect with me across all of my platforms. Jerri Banks, Autonomous Trucking. I look forward to connecting with you.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Look, I was behind the scenes and talking to my friends and family over there on TikTok and just kind of letting them know why I do this show. So I started this show. This is episode 40. So you can tell how long ago I started this show. This is episode 40. And the reason why I started this show is because my sons are all in the trucking and transportation industry, whether it's trucking. I have a truck driver, whether it's supply chain and logistics. I have one that works on the warehouse side. I have two that are in aviation. One is has been working at the airport for over 10 years, and one is just starting out at the airport and is going to be getting his pilot license to fly some planes, y'all. I'm so excited about that. But so the reason why I started this show is because I was always talking to them about leveling up and continuously staying ahead and getting out there in front of the next thing. And of course, they listen, right? They listen, but when it's your mama telling you, maybe you just kind of not really paying attention. But they did listen. I must say that they do listen. But one of them was like, Mom, you need to tell everybody this. You have your YouTube platform, you have a platform, you have an audience, you need to tell others this information and share it with them. And so I started this show so that I can share this information with all of you, because you need to know this information as well. Just as much as my boys need this information, you need this information as well. And we're a recruitment and education agency. So it all ties in together from the recruiting side as well as from the education side. And so that is the basis for me to go out and get this information and research this information and come back and share it with you, because I believe you need to hear this, because you need to know what is going on in your industry. And so I'm here again. I'm here every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. The only thing that will keep me away from doing the show is if I'm on an airplane, because I still work with some of my aviation customers, or if a hurricane comes, like Hurricane Burrow came through Houston a couple of weeks ago, and we had no power, no lights, no internet, no nothing. We were charging our phones in the car. So those are typically the only reasons why I won't be able to do the show. But I'm so glad that you're here. If you're here or if you're watching the replay, make sure you let me know. Make sure you let me know where you're tapping in from. I love to hear and see where you guys are tapping in from. But moving right along into the show. Look, Chick-fil-A. So I went to this Chick-fil-A a couple weeks ago, and it's actually in Houston. It's in the downtown, south of downtown area, 610 Galleria type area. And the Chick-fil-A has a self-driving delivery vehicle. So they partner with this company called Faction to use driverless electric vehicles to deliver food to customers' curbs. So, unlike traditional delivery services that bring the food to your door, Chick-fil-A's is like a curbside delivery. And so I was there and I took a picture of this sign. Let me see if I can find the sign um, that I took a picture of and popped this sign on the screen. Um, but this sign, it's a picture that I took from Chick-fil-A, and it basically says your Chick-fil-A is now delivering and now doing self-driving curbside delivery. This is Chick-fil-A, y'all. They are doing self-driving, using a self-driving vehicle to deliver your food. How interesting is that? If you knew that, look, there's the driverless delivery cars. That's in Houston, and that's a picture of them. And I'm gonna see if I can find that sign to be able to show you guys the sign as well. But yes, that is very interesting. Let me know if you have. And this is the Chick-fil-A on 59 near like Kirby, 59 in like Kirby, Buffalo Speedway area. But they are doing driverless deliveries. And so when I was in the drive-through, I said, "Hey, so tell me about this driverless delivery." And I'm going to see if Sarah can pull up that sign of what it says. But it said that your Chick-fil-A is doing driverless deliveries. And here's a picture of the driverless cars with the little Chick-fil-A cow, right? But it just goes to show you that these companies are really excelling and really changing some of their business model in how they get food to homes. And in that area, I'm sure there's a lot of businesses. I'm sure there's a lot of office buildings. There's a lot of um, like condominiums and different things like that. And so this Chick-fil-A in Houston is the first Chick-fil-A to implement a driverless delivery system. And so they're saying is that this driverless delivery vehicle is going to be a more efficient way to offer delivery to their people. But this is like the new thing. This is the new thing. And the girl said that they only deliver within a 2-mile radius of that Chick-fil-A. And there's a lot of office buildings. There's a lot of like condominiums and parks and different things like that around there. But I definitely, if you're ever in Houston, ride by that Chick-fil-A off of 59 and Buffalo Speedway area, Kirby area. They will you ask them questions, let them know that you heard about it here and you just want to know about the driverless delivery that they're doing there. So again, you have to know this information. You need to know what's going on in your city. Your city Chick-fil-A, it may be coming to your city. So that's something that, I wanted to share because I thought that would be really, really good information for you. Now, moving right along, let's talk about Aurora. Aurora Innovation. They are a self-driving technology company based in Pittsburgh, and their self-driving technology, it's called the Aurora Driver. And it's not just in semi trucks, their software. They also incorporate their software and put it in cars, in passenger cars for robo taxis or ride hailing. I call them taxi, I call them Uber, but it's the official word for it is a robo taxi. And so Aurora has a video, and I want to pull the video up here shortly so I can let you take a look at it. It's about a 2-minute video, but we're going to watch it and see what Aurora is up to.
Our customers are really our partners. We're on this journey together and we need each other's help to bring this technology into the market. And that's why Aurora is building all of the tools and the infrastructure around it to ensure that we can implement this seamlessly. Those tools are remote assist to help them monitor the vehicles out on the road, fleet intelligence, which will make them operate smoother and more efficiently. We're also building a suite of tools that will help the customers manage the vehicles at the terminal. Remote assist is the tool that we use to give high-level inputs to the Aurora Driver from our command center that allows the vehicles to be more effective on the road. What remote assist isn't is a way to remotely operate the vehicle.
So a scenario that remote assist can come into play could be, for example, a construction scene. The Aurora Driver should be able to handle the vast majority of construction zones it encounters. However, in the case where it, for whatever reason, encounters a new type of construction zone that it hasn't experienced before, one of our personnel in our command center can actually use remote assist to suggest actions for the vehicle to take. This helps the vehicle navigate the construction zone safely. It also helps it to learn. The technology we're building is actually going to be usable in a very practical sense by our customers. We'll be able to help deliver goods over very long, hard-to-staff routes. I think there's some other advantages, though, that may not be apparent. We can actually provide really a new level of visibility to a customer shipment. Our vehicles will actually be able to provide really kind of a complete view of what's actually going on around the truck. That's one level of visibility. Another level of visibility is what we call fleet intelligence. What that means is that if one vehicle in your fleet encounters a situation in the morning, it means all of the other vehicles in your fleet that actually have the Aurora Driver will also understand that situation exists and can react accordingly. That situation can be anything from a new construction zone, it can be a road closure of some type, it can even be an accident. That leads to hopefully safer roads and vehicles that can actually respond well ahead of the actual situation arising.
We're working with our customers to write the playbook on how this technology is going to be used in their operations. That is the information that we need to ensure that we develop the technology and the tools that surround it to work within their industry.
Aurora.tech is their website. And I thought this was really interesting and wanted to share it with you. Let me know what you thought of that video. And if you want to check it out, go back and watch the replay. You can also watch it on any of their social platforms. They do share it there. But I really thought that the remote assist, a lot of people think that it's just like a remote operator in a terminal, but it's a remote assist. It's not. They may be an operator in a terminal, but they're not completely operating the truck from there. So it is remote assist, and it gives one thing that really stood out to me was that fleet intelligence and the trucks being able to talk to each other on the roads. That's something that, is from a fleet perspective. If you own a fleet, if you are a larger company with this software, vehicles being able to talk to each other. So if one is going through a construction zone or a road closure or something like that, the others are able to tell each other and be able to maneuver around that, preventing long-term delays and things like that in the operation. So I really thought this was an interesting video. I wanted to share this with you, but it goes to show you the strides that are being made in self-driving trucks. It goes to show you um, some of the level of intuity and the level of intelligence that some of these trucks have. And again, I personally just want to be able to share this information with you so that you know exactly what's out there, so that you know what's coming. I know there's um, a lot of speculation and a lot of concerns about the self-driving trucks and vehicles coming out on the roads, whether they're going to take jobs, whether they're safe. It's important that you know. It's important that you know about them and you know what they are. Because whether you have your opinion or whether you like it or not, they're coming, and they're coming very quickly. And in a lot of cases, they're already on the roadways. I know that Aurora has a huge, even though they're based in Pittsburgh, they have a huge operation in the Dallas, Texas area. A lot of the companies that I talk about on here are based in the Dallas, Texas area, have operations in that area, and are currently running with a safety operator in the truck. But they're currently running loads between Houston and Dallas and San Antonio, and Dallas and El Paso, and Dallas and Atlanta. So the key common denominator there is Dallas and or Texas in general. And Texas is a place where the regulatory environment is very friendly and is welcoming self-driving technology, um, is welcoming the deployment and the development and the testing of it. And so, again, if you're a truck driver in this industry, my advice to you is and I always say this, a couple of things: ensure that you're informed. First and foremost, ensure that you know what's going on in your industry. That means signing up for newsletters. That means attending conferences and webinars. I have a webinar that I will be attending here in the next hour or two. And this webinar is being put on by Supply Dive. And it's all about the outlook of the future, like trends to watch, risks to watch, so many things that are coming out. The FMCSA Department of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, he's going to deliver remarks, and he's going to join some of the trucking dive leaders for a conversation about trucking and supply chain and infrastructure upgrades. They're going to talk about AI in supply chain. They're going to talk about some of the economic forces that are driving the demand of people. And all of this, y'all, affects our bottom line because we're in this industry. I feed my family by this industry. You feed your family by this industry. So it's important that you are aware and you're abreast of what's going on. And so that is, again, why we share the information here, so that you can know what's going on and so that you can be prepared. I shared the link for this webinar a couple weeks ago, or actually last week. I shared that so you can register. I'm going to drop it again here in the comments here, so that you can register if you want to attend. But it starts today at, let me tell you the exact time. But there's a lot of leaders, and it's a fireside chat at 12 p.m., 12 noon Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. So that's just in an hour and a half, and it's a 4-hour event. from 1 to 4, and it's going to actually 1 to 5 Eastern Standard Time. But it's going to be full of a lot of information. You don't have to stay there the whole time, but you do need to be there because, and I dropped the link in the chat. You do need to be there so that you can just be in the know, because I don't want to be working in an industry. I don't want to own a business in an industry and I don't know anything about it. TikTok, I will drop it over there. Look, TikTok, Monique is asking about it. TikTok is asking about it. Let me get that link over there to you guys as well. And I'll drop it over here before the show on my next break. So again, it is so important and so imperative that you guys are in the know. And thank you, Monique, for asking about that link, because that just shows me that, look, I want to know. I got to feed my family by this industry, and I need to know what's going on. And we all need to hear what the secretary of not the secretary, the head of the Department of Transportation is saying about our industry, right? We all need to hear what he's saying. He's probably the most important person that knows about what's going on in the industry to be able to help us, because look, it's important that we know. So I'll drop that here. Let me go ahead and do that now. We'll take a break, and when I come back, I'm going to share a traditional truck driver job. This is a job with it is a tanker position, and so you need your tanker endorsement. And I'm going to talk about why it's important to have all those endorsements as well. We'll be right back.
When it comes to autonomous trucks entering the trucking and transportation industry, up until now, you've only heard bits and pieces, news here, news there. There's been no centralized place for you to learn about autonomous trucks. Join me every Wednesday and Thursday and Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time as I share information, news, and education on how you can stay prepared for autonomous trucks and autonomy entering the trucking and transportation industry.
Chain Outlook. All right, so I'm telling TikTok how to get into this. They are they are wanting to get into this webinar, so I'm excited and I'm letting them know. Hey Gerald, how you doing? So go to Supply Chain Outlook. Somebody type it into the chat over there. Supply Chain Outlook. Google today's date, and again, it's from 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a virtual event. You can just pop it in your headphones and listen to it. And it's being hosted by Supply Chain Dive, Trucking Dive, and Manufacturing Dive. And so those are all newsletters that I subscribe to and get a newsletter from them every single day. Typically, I'm getting a newsletter because that is where I'm learning about my information. That's where I'm getting valuable information to be able to help me, help my family, help my team, help y'all be able to succeed and prepare for what's going on. It keeps me ahead of the game. Thank you, Monique. Thanks for dropping that. She says Supply Chain Outlook. That's what I want you to Google. I want you to register, and I want you to hop on with me and attend. And then tomorrow or on this video, come back and let me know, hey, I was there at the Supply Chain Outlook. I heard the Secretary Pete Buttigieg of the Department of Transportation, head of the FMCSA. I heard him talk. I know what's going on in my industry, and I'm ready. So again, thank you, Monique, for dropping that over there for everybody. All right, so let me talk about this dedicated. It's not dedicated, but it is a regional. It's a tanker run, and if you've been here for any length of time, you will hear me say that I want you to get your endorsements. Okay, as much as I'm talking about the future of trucking and transportation, those endorsements are part of the future. And the reason why is because a lot of that specialized type freight won't be touched by self-driving trucks. Truckers are always going to be needed, right? Your expertise, your knowledge, your thought leadership is always going to be needed. But in special areas of trucking, you will always be needed. You will always be needed. And so one of the things that I tell my son, he started out in general freight OTR, and I'm his advisor. Okay. Nobody else is his advisor when it comes to career in trucking other than me. Now, his dad and, his uncles that drive trucks, they all his advisor when it comes to safety and being out on the roads and all those things. But when it comes to career in trucking, as a recruiter, I am his number one advisor. So whenever he's about to make a decision, I'm the first person that he calls. And so he has every endorsement. And the reason why is because I want him to get every endorsement. That is so important to me, so that you can be able to tap into some of this freight that nobody else is tapping into when it comes to hazmat, tanker, when it comes to oversized, over-dimensional. We got a whole plan. You know how you had a career path and a career plan in high school with your counselor? He has a whole plan, because he's going to be able to do everything: flatbed, oversized, over-dimensional, all of the higher level of difficulty freight. He is going to be able to. Now he's only 2 years in this. Okay. So we it's baby steps. It's slow baby steps, but the goal is to ensure that he's not left behind. The goal is to ensure that he can always feed my 2 grandboys. And so that is very important to me. So this particular run, it is a tanker run. Thank you for the hearts, love. I see him over there. But it is a tanker run. It's regional. It's Northeast. So it's a division out of Maine. And if you're in that area, if you're in the Northeast, in the Maine area, give me a call. I've got the number right here, and either myself or the team will be able to answer your questions. But they move tanker, particularly in the peak season. It's moving water. We've worked with a lot of companies that moved spring water in the past, but this one moves spring water. And they do have a pet and a rider policy. Drivers are averaging home time every week for a 34-hour reset. The average pay, on average, drivers are averaging about $1,500 a week. Look, that is good money that you can write. Now, there's also an opportunity for guaranteed pay. So you get home you're out 2 to 3 weeks, and you get home for your 34-hour reset. So basically home every 2 to 3 weeks, but there's a $1,500 weekly pay guarantee while you're running on the regional tanker lane. And so I love pay guarantees. And the reason why is because you can set your bank account and your bills by the fact that you're going to get paid this amount of money each week, not every other week, each week. And so it's not a matter of, if I get enough miles, or, if I get, enough loads. It's a guarantee. As long as you show up to work, you get the guarantee. And so this one is out of Maine. I also have it in Pennsylvania as well. And so if it sounds like something that you might be interested in, you have 6 months of experience, at least, you have a tanker endorsement, you are willing to run in the region, in the Northeast region, there may be some potential over the road opportunities as well. Give me a call. They do want a good driving record, a good background, no violations in the clearinghouse for this particular position. And if it sounds like something that you are interested in, go ahead and text the word tanker to 832-572-5277, and one of the members of my team will be able to help you. Now, what I typically share during this time is the requireds versus the desireds, right? And a lot of drivers, particularly drivers, old school drivers in this industry, they are used to the requireds. And I'm going to break them down. I'm going to break down the requireds, and I'm going to break down the desires. And so make sure, guys, thank you for sharing the live. Make sure y'all share it. Keep sharing it so that others can get this information as well. So the requireds, let's talk about the requireds as a truck driver. Every company wants a few things. They got to meet the check marks. You got to meet those check boxes on your driver qualification file. It's a file that's required by the FMCSA, and you got to meet those requirements. And those requirements are running an MVR, a certain amount of points. They run your DAC report. They run your PSP, which is your pre-employment screening. A lot of drivers on your PSP, that's where companies put things like violations or out of service, or things like I had a driver the other day said he had a abandonment on his PSP. Well, that's not a good thing. And I don't think anybody is going to be able to hire you if you have an abandonment. So be cognizant of when you're leaving these companies, where you're leaving these trucks and things like that, because your PSP report is what is being pulled. It is a requirement to be able to pull your PSP report. Another requirement is you have to pass the DOT urine. A lot of companies also do hair. So those are really important. Thank y'all so much for keep sharing that live. I love it. Another thing is they're running your background, doing a background check on you. Those are all the check boxes, right? The check boxes that they all check. A big one now, a lot of companies are counting how many jobs you've had in the last year, or in the last 2 years or 3 years. Most companies are wanting it to be less than 5 in the last year. Some I'm seeing are saying less than 3 jobs in the last year. Those are all mostly requirements by either the DOT, that company's insurance regulations and requirements. Those are those check boxes that you're used to. Okay. So let me talk about the check boxes that you're not used to as a driver. You're not used to getting having an interview. You're not used to going through some of those second and third interviews. Well, in the future of trucking and transportation, guess what? That's what we're seeing. We're seeing companies incorporate interview style questions that you need to be able to answer if you want that job that's paying more than that typical rate that you're used to. Okay. And so that means you have to be a good communicator. That means you have to be able to critically think and verbalize your thoughts during these interviews. And so that's so important. I'm going to give you some of the interview questions, because we ran into a few companies that are now requiring interview questions and wanting those interview questions filled out before or in addition to the actual application. So, what I'm saying is, some companies are saying that in addition to them completing this application, this 10th Street or Driver Pulse application, we also want to know this. We also want to know why you left your previous company. Yes, that's on there, but they want it in more detail. Tell me, what are you looking for in your next position? They want to know those things. Have you ever driven over the road? What are your biggest concerns with starting a new company? Tell me about your professional driving. Have you had any awards? Have you gotten any safety awards? Have you taken any safety classes? How are you maintaining safety out on the road? Well, you know how you maintain safety out on the road, but you got to be able to verbalize that in an interview. You got to be able to verbalize that to like a manager or one of the leaders that's asking you these types of questions. Tell me some examples of what you've learned in your driving career that's made you a better driver. Like, these are things that I want you to think about, because you're not used to getting asked these questions. You're not used to getting asked these questions. And so those are questions that I want you to think about. And you got to think outside the box to be able to answer those. It should come naturally to you. But if you're not someone who, is just like speaking and hosting podcasts and different things like that, then maybe it won't come naturally to you. So I want you to think about that. So I sum all of that up to say that in trucking, we're not used to those formalized interviews. We're not used to really expressing our career and sharing all of the things that make us great and safe as a driver. But in the future of trucking and transportation, I want you to be prepared for that. I want you to be ready for that, because that is what we're seeing as a recruiting agency. Those are questions we're having to ask drivers and be able to submit that with the application. So I shared that tanker job. I think that's a great opportunity for anybody up in the Northeast, but I also wanted to share those, what I called qualifies, qualifications, qualified skills, and what I call desirable skills, desired skills. And these are desires that the company's looking for. So they're looking for people that are great communicators. They're looking for people that are problem solvers, people that know how to think outside the box and use their critical thinking skills to solve problems. People that are good team workers. They work good in a team setting. And so those are things that I want you to be thinking about. I want you to put that in your toolbox because you're going to need it. Okay. You're going to need to pull it out later. We have a comment from DB Trucker. DB Trucker is my favorite trucker out there in BA. Hey, DB Trucker. Most interviews can't even answer those questions. Yeah. You want to be able to answer those questions though, because those questions are coming. We're already starting to see them. And so I definitely think that that's something that you need to put in your toolbox. Go ahead and save it. Go ahead and be ready to answer it, because those are some of the questions that you're going to have to answer. Now, when we come back, I'm going to wrap up the show with a learning lane. Y'all been learning the whole show. You've been learning the whole show, but I'm going to wrap up with a book that I want you to go grab and get. No, I don't get no affiliate referral, nothing. I just want you to get this book because this book helped me. And I have one of my boys reading it as well, the one that's going to pilot school. But I really think that because nobody else want to listen to me and go read it, but he would. He did. So I want you to listen to me and go get this book because it was really helpful. And I'm going to talk about why. I will be right back.
When it comes to autonomous trucks entering the trucking and transportation industry, up until now, you've only heard bits and pieces, news here, news there. There's been no centralized place for you to learn about autonomous trucks. Join me every Wednesday and Thursday and Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time as I share information, news, and education on how you can stay prepared for autonomous trucks and autonomy entering the trucking and transportation industry.
The questions. We're back. Look, y'all give me. I get to going and talking to my friends over on TikTok, and he said I'm talking about maybe the person that's giving the interview might not even be able to answer those questions, and I understand that. But what I want to instill in my viewer that is the trucker, is to ensure that you know how to answer those questions and you're prepared for them when they come. Because right now you're not prepared because you don't even know they're coming. But since you went back and you rewinded this video and you watched it, you know some of the questions that are going to be asked. And they essentially want to know that the individual that they're hiring is going to be a good fit for their team, is a team player, is safe. That is a big thing right now. Like safety, do not get any safety violations. Don't get no tickets. Don't get fired for safety. Look, I had a driver reach out the other day and he got terminated for safety. And there is no company in our roster. There is no company that wants to be your next company after you've gotten fired from safety for a safety violation or terminated for a safety violations. No company will hire you. So you need to find a small mom and pop that'll bring you on, or a company who, find a small mom and pop, because there's not a lot of companies that'll bring you on. They want you to have at least 6 months or a year or 2 years of safe driving, even though you need somewhere to go drive to be able to get those, 2 years or 6 months of safe driving before you can, get back in the truck or get back with one of those companies. And so I implore you, and this is a prevention talk. This is my mother prevention talk. Do not get any violations in the clearinghouse. Do not get terminated for safety. Do not get any tickets. Do not get any accidents, and keep your jobs to a minimum. Keep the number of companies that you work for to a minimum. Those 4 to 5 things, if you do those 4 to 5 things that I just said, you will be successful in the future of trucking and transportation. You will be successful in the future of trucking and transportation. So let's get right on to this book because my producer is telling me that, hey, you need to start talking about this book. Go ahead and put it back up there, Sarah. She popped that book up. She said, Miss Jerry, because you're going to go all day. All right. We got to wrap this show up at some point. So this book is a book that I absolutely love. It was one of the ones that have really helped me in getting my day together, being organized and being productive. And the reason why I want to share this, and this is the learning lane, okay? Welcome to the learning lane. This is where I share actionable tips and tools that you can use and put in your toolbox. You may not need to buy it tomorrow, but buy it at some point because it's a book called Deep Work by Cal Newport. And the premise of the book is in this social media driven world, in this world where we have major distractions and we're all connected to some type of technology device, um, in a world where, for example, you get these dopamine hits and you're waiting, you send a text message out and you're waiting for that person to respond, and you can see they're typing because you see the little gray thing moving and they're getting ready to type and you're waiting for their response, or you post that post and you're waiting on likes and comments and things like that. Like in a world where there's so much distraction, this book helps you focus. It helps you keep those distractions to a minimum. And he celebrates the power of focus and the benefits that come with focus. And so for me, it was so helpful from the standpoint of being able to focus on and find my most productive hours, right? The most productive hours of my day. So my day, I'm most productive in the morning between 5 and about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. By 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, my brain starts shutting down, and all I can do is just, do the little monotonous things, check the emails, and all of those things. But I'm my most productive in the morning. And so, whatever it is that you're wanting to do, like for example, I need you to go think about all of the answers for those interview questions that I just went over, right? Be thinking about those. And if you're driving, be recording yourself on a voice note, answering those questions. Answering those questions, those interview questions that I just gave you, put it on a voice note. And then when you're ready or you're going to go look for that new job and they're about to do an interview, start studying those questions that you put down. But you're your best self in certain hours of the day, right? When you're winding down and you're ready to go to sleep, you are not your best self. You're your best self when your brain is highly intuitive and it's woke and it's ready. And so he breaks the book down in two parts. The first part helps you understand deep work and what it is and why you need it. And then the second part, it's more action driven. It's a training regimen to help you get to that point of deep work. So I just really thought this was really interesting. It was a really good book I wanted to share. And I'll do more book shares periodically because y'all, I read a lot. I do read a lot, and reading helps me be a better communicator, right? It helps me be a better like thinker, critical thinker. It helps me with my vocabulary. Like reading is very helpful. I won't say it enough. And if you don't want to read, let me give you another tip or tool that has always helped me. And I started doing this in like the summer of my 8th grade year, y'all. That was over 30 years ago. Okay. It was a long time ago. I don't even remember how long it was, but I graduated in 96. But the summer of my middle school year, the entire summer, the only thing that I did was two things. I read books, a lot of books, and I did crossword puzzles. Not the figure out the little trivia thing. It was the actual word search. That's what you call them, word search. I did nothing but word search, but it helped me with my brain, hand, eye, coordination, and my brain. Like my brain got to see it. I thought about it, and I was able to find it. Like those word searches, even though like it might be fun for you, but do those consistently and you'll see like your memory gets better, your hand eye gets better, your vision starts to see things like pop out. Like, look, that's a gem if I ain't said nothing else in the whole show. but I still do those periodically. But I love word searches. I will race my kids. Even now, I will race them doing a word search. And that's what we do on like family game nights and stuff like that. I will race them doing a word search, and I am still just as sharp now at 47. Well, I'm 46. I'll be 47 in September. Now at 46 than I was at like 12 or 13. So look, this has been great. I want to say thank you guys so much for being here. A lot of good gems, a lot of good information. Make sure you get that book. Make sure you tap in and you're subscribed to the channel and you're following me across all of my platforms. A lot of good information. If you missed the show, catch the replay, put hashtag replay. Let me know you watched it. And then come back tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Bye, y'all.